Hi, I'm Caitlin Fitzgerald with BCTV. I'm standing here with Lynn Zimmerman. Lynn, can you tell me about yourself and this amazing event?
Sure. So I run Greet Bedford magazine and Be Local Greater Manchester, which is a magazine for new homeowners in the region. And we are here today at the Bedford Event Center bringing local businesses together. There's so many great businesses in this town, and we really try to boost the economy, forge friendships, cross-promote each other. So we're having about 130 local business owners in collaboration with the Greater Manchester Chamber. And we're going to be networking, eating, drinking, and then we will have a panel of speakers. This will be moderated by Heather McGrail, who's the CEO of the Greater Manchester Chamber. And we have 3 different business owners in Bedford. They're going to share their experiences. We're going to have Q&A. If anyone wants to chime in, they're more than welcome. Hopefully we'll keep it positive. And that is the gist of it. We just want to grow the economy in Bedford and help the town thrive. Yeah, so that's it.
Sounds amazing. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
Yes, my name is Michael Hinchcliffe, and I'm from Restore Hyper Wellness in Bedford, New Hampshire.
Could you give me a little bit of information about your business?
We are a hyper wellness business that is all about internal wellness, so helping people sleep better for recovery. We have IV drip therapies, cryotherapy, infrared saunas, red light therapy, and some beauty works like hydrofacials, oxygen facials, things like that.
Wow, that's amazing. If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would it be?
Community. Definitely community.
That's amazing. And what would you say to someone who's considering opening a business in Bedford?
It's a great place to be, great place to open a business. Everybody's been super helpful, supportive, from Greet Bedford the magazine down to people that drive by. They always come in and they ask what it's about. They take a tour. They try a 2.5-minute cryotherapy session, and it's just, they're so positive. So
that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, could you tell me the name of your business and your name?
My name is Rob Glue, and I work with Southern New Hampshire Radiology Consultants.
That's amazing. Could you tell me a little bit about your company?
So our company services 5 of New Hampshire's hospitals with radiology services. We have a few imaging centers in the Greater Manchester area as well.
If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
Exciting. It's an exciting town to work in. Bedford's a nice community that's connected with a lot of other cities and towns in healthcare, which is the business that we're in. So because of the highway infrastructure, we can be in a lot of locations fairly quickly, and that works well for our business.
And if you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
I would tell them that Bedford seems to support the businesses in the community, events like tonight, and the networking that's available. If you want to be embedded in a community, this is the town to do it in.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
My name is Greg Ream. I'm the owner of Liberty Hill Construction.
And could you tell me a little bit about what your business does?
We're a design build remodeling company in Bedford, New Hampshire.
Amazing. If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
Community.
And could you expand on what you mean by community?
Sure. I'm a member of the community. I've lived in Bedford for almost 30 years. And so as a business owner in Bedford, we find that we get involved with all the members of the community. We participate in the sporting clubs. I've been an assistant coach. We engulf ourselves into the community and do business in it.
Wonderful, thank you. Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
It's Kate McKenzie at South of the 6th.
And what does that business do?
Well, we serve coffee and we do nails. We're one part espresso bar and one part non-toxic nail bar.
Wow. If you were going to describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
I would say interesting.
And could you elaborate on that?
I would say that people maybe have an idea of what the Bedford demographic is or what the Bedford community wants, and it is not always what you might think it would be.
Very true. And if you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
I would say be creative and be brave in your marketing and your outreach.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
Yes, my name is Megan. My business is MAO Design.
And what does that do?
So we are an interior design, interior architecture firm, and we offer services that range from staging to construction documentation.
If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
Maybe community. To me, I think we have such a thick and rich community in Bedford, and everyone really wants to help each other out.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
I would say jump in, do it, try it, and just get immersed in the community. And like I said, everyone really wants to connect and to grow and to really enrich the lives of everyone in town.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
John O'Brien. I'm a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch Wealth Management.
And what does that business do?
We help people manage investing their money, banking, lending, credit, retirement planning.
If you could describe doing business around Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
Community, family. I think everybody that lives in Bedford is a tight-knit community, and I think people try to get to know one another. And I think it's a great community for family.
If you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
I would say get involved in the community. I think that helps build the relationship. If there is lacking relationship, I think it makes it pretty tough. So whether it be school board or Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, I think that's where you can start, and I think people will be more receptive to what you do.
Thank you so much. Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
Yes, my name is Sarah Croto, and my business is Soul Power Yoga.
And what does your business do?
We are a small, woman-owned yoga studio, community-based, offering high-quality, hot power yoga to people in the greater Bedford community.
If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
I would say supportive. All of the other local business owners, people in the community who've come into the studio, organizations like Great Bedford have all been so supportive on this journey. I really feel that from everyone in town.
And if you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
I would tell them that Bedford is a great place to be. I've lived here for about 12 years and raised my children here, and being a member of this community from a personal side and a professional side, I really see the growth and support that business owners can have here in Bedford.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a nice night.
Hi, could you tell me your name and the name of your business?
Hi, my name is Rory Pellicaro, and I work for LBAPS. We are a licensed behavior analyst professional services company that services children on the autism spectrum.
If you could describe doing business in Bedford in one word, what would that word be?
Amazing. It's the people, everything about the community and connecting. There's always someone who can help you with something else, and it's just networking in the community, which really is amazing.
If you were going to talk to someone who is considering doing business in Bedford, what would you say to them?
Just be yourself, talk to people, communicate, because everyone's networking. There's always somebody who's there to help someone else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Come on up, panelists. Hi, everybody. Great to see you all. You're first, in order by longevity. So, John here. So we have the panel of J's in front of us, all J names, and that was really on purpose. It was part of the criteria. No, really, these are fantastic panelists strategically placed because they're all in different phases of business and are going to share some insight with us tonight. And definitely want the audience to get involved in this. We have a number of questions, but we also want you to be able to ask your burning questions. But first, I'm going to start off with a little bit of an intro. So Joy LeBlanc is first, and I'm going to give you a little bit of history about Joy, who is, believe it or not, a third generation family-owned business, AJ LeBlanc Heating. Everybody knows it? Who knows it in the audience? Very good, very good. That's excellent. Very good longevity, that's what that produces.
I introduce myself to everybody. Right?
She knows what she's doing. The business, though, is a fourth generation business now because her nephew has joined and owns part of the business, so pretty amazing. It was started by her grandfather, Abel LeBlanc, and opened in Medford, Mass., then moved to Manchester in 1938, and then built in its present location in Bedford in 1940. 54 employees, and they are at South River Road if you're not familiar. In the coming year, their plan is to continue expanding plumbing and electrical department and consider purchasing another company. So you might be getting the inside scoop here a little bit, although it's televised, so maybe it's not as inside as we think. Joy's present office, this is interesting, was her bedroom when she was living at home. So just kind of absorb that for a minute. Pretty amazing, the intersection of the family and the business. Also, another anecdote is when tractor trailers were delivering material to the office, the top of the truck bed would get caught on their clothesline, like the clothes, that were drying. And that was constantly an issue. So really interesting stories that must have developed from that. Yeah. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Joy, to say a few words to the audience as soon as I turn this on for you. There's the mother mic. It's very big. Yes.
Hi, I'm Joy LeBlanc. Running a business in Bedford has really, improved, changed my life for the better. I grew up in Bedford, in the same building. I used to walk South River Road. I would go to the mall, go roller skating, go to the drive-in theater, go bowling, went skiing down the small hill on North Amherst Road. I used to do a lot of events when I was much younger, and it's been involved with our business since I grew up in Bedford. We always have tried to come back to Bedford, where supporting all of our customers and all of our communities.
Great. Done. Joy. So lovable. Okay, so John Mortimer is next, owner of Millennium Running. Again, how many here know Millennium Running in the room? Excellent. So Millennium is, responsible for when you have those roadblocks because of all the road races that they're doing and you're stuck in line. But more importantly, they are a small family-owned business established in September 2010, which surprised me because I would have thought it was much farther back myself. Sole proprietor business to produce all kinds of road races. So anybody in here who has participated in a road race that's run by Millennium? I know I have, yeah. So there's great community impact. Yeah. 13 years later, Millennium is now New England's largest road race company. I hope I can say that because I saw it on your website. Okay. And has 11 full-time employees and 35 part-time employees within their two business units, one being the events that they run, and the other, their retail store established in 2016. So if you haven't visited that yet, it's right near Humble Warrior and Members First, right on that stretch of 101. To date, Millennium has donated $1.4 million to charity from the proceeds of their events that have over 50,000 runners annually. Pretty awesome. There you go.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so Ladies, you wore the wrong shoes. We're going for a run. Everybody up, come on, come on. Rick, you better get up, we're going. You're not here to run, sorry, wrong thing, that was Sunday. We try to have fun at Millennium Running. Again, being a family-run small business, my wife and I, we're thrilled to be Bedford residents, have our kids be friends with your kids, and go to Bedford Public Schools, run a business in town, live in town. It is just a great place to do business and raise a family, and it was the best decision we made to move to Bedford in 2015 and have the 2.0 version of our business, from events to having a brick and mortar retail store. So we're thrilled to be in Bedford and Greater Manchester, and hope to be doing this for my 4th generation of great children. That'd be awesome. So kudos.
Awesome. You can just pass it to Juliet, because I can't reach now. So Juliet Buell, the owner of Live Free Refillery, has joined us. And as we go down the trajectory of business development, her business just opened. So how many have been there? Okay, so as we would expect, a little more work to do on this one because it's a new business. It opened in July 2023, was incorporated in September 2022. And the mission is to innovate new ways in which we can improve our impact on the environment, to support and create jobs in agriculture, and to provide a way for people to lead healthier lives in our community. So pretty impactful mission. If you didn't get a chance to view her, yeah. And the passion really shines through. Wait till you hear her talk about it. And so their retail store is located off of 101 towards the Amherst line, where Wicked Good Butcha used to be. I have to say that correctly. But they sell nuts, grains, seeds, rice, pastas, the best kombucha. My favorite kombucha is in there. It's really a fabulous store. Current staff exists of 3 part-time employees. And in the coming year, Juliet hopes to make her business profitable, right? Which in 1 year would be a daunting task, by the way, in the world of business development. And also to teach people about farms in the area and significantly reduce packaging waste from the waste stream. A little personal tidbit, she's lived in 7 states, I won't list them all, and 3 countries. So now your job is to find her afterwards and ask her which ones they are. So welcome, Juliet.
Thank you, everybody, for having me, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this panel. I feel very honored. I am new to Bedford. I actually live in Litchfield, and I've lived in New Hampshire for about 5 years. As you heard, I've traveled a lot. I've lived in a lot of different states. I moved up here from Pennsylvania 5 years ago, where I was teaching agriculture extension education, working for Penn State. It was a tremendous job that I had. I learned a lot about agriculture and about farming and ag businesses in particular, and about the struggles that they face. And coming up to New Hampshire, we see the same things here with the high land values and farmers trying to stay afloat and produce food for all of us, and it's so important. So I feel really excited to open this business, to continue to teach people about agriculture and about food, and also to tie it into the zero waste movement. So, yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations. I'm going to go back to you now. Okay, so our first question is for you, Joy. And it's, as you think over your journey as a 3rd-generation leader of a family-owned business, what are you most proud of? It's a tough one, I know.
It's a tough one. I had a lot of ideas dealing with what I'm mostly proud of, but my grandfather ended up designing a motto, and the motto was, where old-fashioned values and service never go out of style. And we always try to adhere to that motto, which goes back to my grandfather. Basically, the values of running a business is honesty, integrity, value, and that's really important for us to continue with those type of values. And the motto that we always try to instill with our customers, well, not our customers, our employees, and all future employees. So we try to follow that. Another thing I'm really proud of is trying to teach the fourth generation the way it was in the past. And there are struggles with that. New technologies, new ways of doing things. I'm very conservative. My nephew is very gung-ho, wanting to take on the world. So it's been a challenge for myself to learn all what he can give to the company. But we've been remarkable on our technology that he's really assisted us. And next.
You're hilarious.
You have the best segues. They're fantastic.
Very smooth. Okay, so Juliet, I think this one might be a little bit different for you because you are just starting your business, but it's maybe not what you're most proud of, but what positive change, which you already alluded to a little bit. But say 5 years out, what do you hope the positive changes that you've been impacting through your business?
I hope to reduce waste on the planet and through our community, through reduced use of packaging, especially plastic. Plastic is something that is prevalent on all foods, and only 9% of it is actually recycled. So my business and a lot of refilleries aim to address that issue by inviting people to buy their food differently. So that's something that we're hoping is that we can have an impact and reduce our waste, because for so long I think everyone felt it was out of our hands, but there's a new wave of people who see that actually our actions can have an impact. So
before we get to this question, can you tell the ball jar story?
Oh yeah,
because I think that's really
sure.
Shows your passion.
So that's just basically what Heather's talking about is I became aware of the zero waste movement several years ago when I saw a video on Facebook that was going viral, and it was this young woman named Lauren Singer who was talking about how all of her trash fit into a 16-ounce mason jar since 2012. And this was like, I think I saw it in maybe 2017, and I was like, how is that possible? And she talked about how she did it through composting, through recycling, through reducing her purchasing, and also refusing things. So when people give you something, like if you're going out to eat, saying, no, I don't want it. So all of those things, she was able to accomplish this. So it really made an impression on me, and I started doing a lot of research about this zero waste movement, and there are stores popping up around the world that are doing something similar. So in Canada, in California, Oregon, even in New Hampshire, there are other stores that are focusing on how can we reduce this packaging waste. So yes, that's the ball jar story. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's let John answer that same question before we move on to audience questions.
I was going to say I'm most proud of Juliet for... I mean, this is, honestly, a new business takes a lot of guts. And I have friends in the audience right now starting a new business. Some of our friends are partners and sponsors of Millennium Running. It takes guts to start a new business and to go out on your own and leave a safety net. Sometimes that's health insurance, sometimes that's, financial security. So it takes big kahunas to go out and do it. And I think people that do it and do it with passion, they have that to look back on as the thing they're most proud of, that they took that risk.
Okay, so we had an audience question.
Well, right now...
So let me just repeat for the television. What was it? Where do you get your food from? Okay.
So right now we get our fresh produce from a distributor called Three Rivers Farmers Alliance. They aggregate food from local farms and they deliver it to our store, which is an awesome service. We're hoping to get more products from farms in the area. Right now we get milk from Conto Cook Creamery and also eggs. And the creamery brings us milk in glass bottles, not plastic. So we can return the bottles back to the creamery and they'll reuse them, which has been done since decades. It's great that there's still industries that are doing that reuse of containers and packaging. So,
Awesome.
yeah, you're welcome.
That Conticook chocolate milk, by the way, oh God. It's the best. It's like $100 a bottle right now.
It's worth it.
Totally worth it.
It's what you put in your body. Okay, so John, Bedford Community. Just in general, how do you find doing business in Bedford now that you even have your retail store here? But I know your races are everywhere, but specifically Bedford.
Yeah, it was a really big shift when we opened our retail store in 2016. So I had been in business for 6 years or so, producing running events from our house, which no one could find. So that was really nice. No one would knock on your door and ask you anything. It was all digital communication. So when we opened our retail store in 2016, now instead of just having a quote-unquote storefront for the dozen races that we produced, now we had a storefront 365. So that changed our impact to our community in Bedford quite a bit. And I love it because we see neighbors come in. Again, we are a family-run business, so we see our neighbors, our friends. It is truly a sense of community. We have, impact from the local organizations that are looking for fundraising opportunities. A lot of school sports, student athletes are coming in, boosters clubs programs, looking to raise the community together. And it's been amazing to have that 365 storefront. On 101, it's hard to drive by sometimes and miss things on 101, but it is great to just be hyper local to our community.
Awesome. And if you haven't been there, they'll do a whole analysis, right? I don't know what you call it officially, but on your type of running.
Yeah, we called it fitology, the study, we made that word up, the study of the right fit, basically, like sociology or whatever, the study of the right fit. And too often, you all look great in your high heels, but they're terrible for you. They're awful. Your back hurts, your arches hurt. The guys are wearing their loafers and they're flat with no support. Terrible. Kick the good shoes, you'll be happy. But yeah, the scanning and trying to get you in the right footwear so you're healthier and happier. There's nothing worse than people being immobile. So keeping people running, active lifestyles. So between the exercise and the footwear is part of that community we bring together in one big cohort.
Awesome. And over to you, Joy, since you've been in Bedford, there you go, since 1940, right?
Yes, well, not me.
True, but the business, I hope. Thank you for that clarification. But just wondering what you've seen in your time, changes in Bedford over the years as you have your presidency role, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, thinking of and looking back at pictures that my grandfather took when they built the building and multiple different buildings that, it brings back stories that he would tell me that when he built the building in 1940, he also built a barn that was way down on Bodwin Street, and that barn housed cows. Can you believe cows in Bedford? Okay. Are there any cows left in Bedford? I don't know, but maybe.
Oh, we have a yes over here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
There's cows in Bedford, everybody.
There are.
Still here.
So, funny story, when my grandfather built that barn and he had the cows back in 1940 or so, that was during World War II. The cows got out of the barn and they were loose. A lot of people were trying to round up the cows because back then, during World War II, meat was very hard to come by. So it was interesting just listening to my grandfather talk about those stories. Also, he built a building that he raised pigeons, homing pigeons, and they would race. They would race from Bedford all the way out to New York and then come back. And it's just interesting to think about what people did in their spare time. So we still have that building today, and I still call it the pigeon coop. And it's just the stories of growing up in Bedford. It's the exposure to other customers that may have that history. It's the multi-generational type of customers that I hear when I go out shopping, and they said, well, my parents were one of your customers, and now we are. So that's remarkable to me to hear those stories, especially like when I go to Staples and pick up office supplies, and the worker there says, hey, I sing your jingle all the time. So, you know, to me, it's just I have to be, my business needs to be in Bedford because I've got so much history here.
I think we need to have a whole event on the pigeon raising. I'm not sure how you all are feeling, but fascinating. So this is a bit of a selfish question. Where's Lauren Getz? She's here somewhere. On behalf of our chamber's work, which we're doing a lot of economic development and workforce development for the Greater Manchester region, I wanted to have you folks talk about, do you view that economic and workforce development that takes place for our largest city as affecting your business directly? And if so, how can we do a better job to support you as a follow-up, if you can think of anything?
Well, all the members, to me, since I have the mic.
It's you first, yeah.
Okay, John?
Yeah.
Okay. All the members that, I live in Manchester, so I'm constantly working with the public there, supporting Manchester with the sports teams, Rotary clubs. We always try to support those different venues and different memberships that require some funding for fundraising. So with all the businesses that are members of the Manchester Chamber, we've always tried to support those businesses, or the town in Bedford with the businesses that are here. So when I go shopping or I go to any location, like the Animal Rescue League, and I know
there's Marianne.
There she is. We always try to support our locals. So.
And you see it as a very direct line between Manchester and Bedford.
Yes, definitely with Manchester and Bedford, we're so close.
Awesome. To you, John.
I definitely see a corollary or synergy between Greater Manchester and Bedford, no doubt about it. Our races are all over New England, and you know, when someone, just because the race is in Bedford, people from all the zip codes are coming. So there's no real, I guess, line in the sand between the two. And the work that's done in Manchester and Bedford is a rising tide situation. You know, it's raising all ships. So from that perspective, and even if we have, I know we have a couple, like I mentioned before, a couple sponsors of our races that are in the audience, like Stretch Lab and Restore, you know, might be in Stretch Lab in Bedford, but in reality, you know, someone might be running the race that's in Londonderry or in the Seacoast, but they live in Bedford, so they see that exposure in different ways. Same things with Restore, or even it goes beyond that. Some of the companies have a larger footprint, and you're able to connect those dots. So I think it's very translucent back and forth from my perspective.
Translucent, great word.
I don't know if I use that right.
I think it's great.
I would just say I'm still so new and I have a lot of work to do in order to capture a lot of the people from Manchester and tap into you know, the audience there. When we had our grand opening, we had a lot of good publicity, like the Manchester Ink Link did a great piece on us, and the Union Leader, and but we still have a lot of work to do with getting people from Manchester to come to our store, so I'm still learning.
As much as it's not transparent, was it transparent? Translucent. I'm like, wait, it's not quite right. As much as it's translucent, there still is that geographic barrier, right? For some people, if they're not driving from Bedford to Manchester on a daily basis, live in one, work in the other, it's like, oh, it's over there. But they're so close to each other. So
I will say that when we opened our retail store in Bedford, and it was a retail, there's other people that sell footwear and shoes, and we had people that were from Bedford or Amherst that said, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to go all the way to the city."
The big city.
Right?
Yes.
So that you do have that a little bit of a border, and you know, people are like, I have to go through the Hooksett tolls, or I have to go through, you know, the Bedford tolls to go all the way to Nashua.
It's very true. And I have to say, it's been wonderful working with Greet Bedford, with Lynn, and with Jennifer, because, you know, blending what GREET does to unite communities and businesses, and what the Greater Manchester Chamber does. It's been such a good synergy and collaboration. So that's what it's all about, is kind of breaking down those barriers a little bit. So this is talking about kind of the ugly side. So what keeps you up at night at this stage of your development? Obviously, you're all three in very different stages, but I'm sure things are still keeping you up at night. So who wants to start?
Sure, I'll go. I think initially what kept me up at night was providing for my family. Taking that risk that you're taking is you're kind of the sole breadwinner, sole proprietor. How am I going to make the finances work? And that was the initial risk that I had and kept me up at night. Besides the reoccurring dream that I missed my alarm and missed the road race that I was supposed to be producing. That one still happens. But when you have to get up at like dark 30 and you're like, the alarm is going, in my case, sometimes 3:30, like 1:30, 2:30, I keep checking the clock and I'm like, what the hell? It happens all the time. Anyway, regardless, it was, our personal family going out on a limb scenario that kept me up at night. And then as we've matured as a company over the last 10 years, it's now providing for other people's families. And making sure our business is strong enough such that our employees have the same benefits that we've enjoyed as a family, and the life-work balance, and ensuring we just, having a father take paternity leave for 6 weeks is something that, I didn't get when I had a kid. And I'm really thrilled that our...
But you should have.
And I think in today's workforce, the thing that keeps me up today is keeping people happy, employed, with the right culture, and doing what's right by employees, so we can thrive as a business. Because if they're not happy as part of our team, we don't survive, and I don't have the ability to be here to talk to you all.
Awesome.
Being the third generation of this company, the initial start was not up to me. That was my grandfather. My father and his two brothers continued through, but then I had a lot, and I still have a lot going on that I worry about that keeps me up at night. For instance, how much should I grow? And when is it too much? And when do I have to pull back? That's one of the areas. There's just so many things that I worry about the future, and what will the fourth generation bring to the business, and how can we succeed through that? I worry about our older customers that aren't moving with the greatest and latest technologies, on not emailing, they don't even have emails. So how do I communicate with these customers to make sure I don't lose them? There's a lot of generational things that are involved with that, and basically the growth. That's what I worry about.
Well, in a way, you're a bridge from the past to the present.
Yes.
Trying to hand it off.
Yes.
In the best way.
Yep.
That is stressful.
Yep.
Yeah. Juliet.
I feel like John captured a lot of the same things that keep me up at night. So yeah.
The finances.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely. Okay. This is a fun one, but before I go on, any audience questions? Okay, great.
That's for John. I'm a tennis player, and I'm constantly struggling finding the shoes that fit me right to better my game. You guys cater to that?
Good. So the question was.
Go ahead.
The question was, she's an amazing tennis player, and that she struggles finding the right footwear to play the game healthy and feel good doing it. And do we carry tennis stuff? If we took in tennis stuff, my wife would kill me. We are running specialty, so we are, a running. You have like big box stores, and you have Dick's Sporting Goods. You have online. We're considered running specialty for our footwear, so it's running straight ahead shoes, running and walking. Yeah, and what's actually interesting about footwear, if I could for one quick second. We have so many people that come in and say, well, I'm not a runner. And that's not, we're looking to service people that just need to be mobile, keep walking. And surprisingly, one of our best client bases are people that work in hospitals that are on hard floors on their feet all day long. So Hoka's are those really puffy shoes, right? We have people from the Elliott. You know, being able to walk on, you know, cushy shoes while you're on your feet all day is part of it. So unfortunately not for tennis, but you should start running more.
You just said it wasn't about running.
Yes.
Sure. Get the kids involved. Can you share with us what you've been doing to help the children as we move into more of a technology field? How do you get kids involved in HVAC and how you're working with the community to help them?
Okay, just to repeat up the question is, how do you get kids involved in HVAC with all the changes in technology and keeping them engaged?
I love working with schools. In fact, last week, the town of Hudson invited me to go to their career day for their 7th graders. So I'll attend, I'll explain to groups why it's so important to be in our career, the trades career, like Greg, building homes and doing remodeling and doing plumbing, HVAC. Yes, it's not desirable. You're not, you know, I mean, but the future is unbelievable when it comes to income that they can earn. They can run their own business. There's a lot of direction where you can go when you become trained. We have 3 different apprenticeship programs with the state of New Hampshire for the electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And we attend career days recently we just went to a New Hampshire construction career day, and that's how I met the woman in Hudson. I just go directly in schools, talk to students, and share with them what type of career they can have with the industry, especially if they like working with their hands, and eventually they could own their own businesses.
Question in the back. So for the BCTV audience, I'm not sure I can summarize that one, but what are the limitations on businesses being able to carry over generation?
What makes it so hard for multi-generational businesses to go to the next generation?
Okay, what makes it so hard for multi-generational businesses to go through to the next generation?
Okay, so
thank you for the question.
I was a member of UNH Family Business. It was a great group, a bunch of different family businesses that got together. We shared succession, which was very important, and how to proceed in the future should something happen with the present owners. It's very important to plan, very important that right now, to the 3rd generations, the average percentage of businesses that make it to 3rd generation are 3%. Very little. Going to the 4th is nearly unheard of. I guess my parents just gave me the proper drive and feel of the motto that we have, that I just want it to succeed. And I think my nephew has shared in that. He has obtained his master electrician license just recently, and he is learning the field trade. Now I have to share with him proper business. Even though he did have his BA in business management. So I don't know what makes us succeed.
I have a feeling it's probably you. And the way you're doing that succession
I have the history
transfer.
and the transitions through the years and watching it all happen. You're a family business. What do you hold?
I don't have an expert opinion on this, but all I know is I have 2 kids, and one runs, and the other one says, I'm not running a step. And if I said, hey, do you want to take over Daddy's business someday? My younger one will be like, no.
Right.
No, I'm doing my own thing. Yeah. My older one might say yes, but I'd imagine there's some family dynamics that make that hard. And just when you grow up in the family business, you either love it or hate it. And I can imagine that would play a role, just from my own personal experience with 2 young boys that can be amazingly, terribly awesome.
And I'll share something else. I do have two boys. One boy is actually building homes. He chose not to follow my path, and that's okay. I want them to do what they want to do, basing on their career. I'm not going to force them to go into my business and our family business, because if they're pushed, then they'll regret what they really wanted to do. And that's what I've always thought. Now, I got into the business purely by accident. Really, seriously. After college, because I tore my ACL playing volleyball, I was sitting in the chair, phone was ringing, business phone that is, and I said, Dad, do you just want me to answer the phone? I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. So I started answering the phone. Then, after a month, I said, Dad, you shouldn't be up in the office until 10 o'clock at night. Well, let me help you with those invoices. Then it went to, Dad, you really need a computer. Then it went to, he says, so are you going to stay in the business? I said, well, I really wanted to go into marketing, but this seems pretty darn good. And it's been a good living. It really has. And my children want nothing to do with it. One's building homes, the other loves music, so I'm going to let them be.
Thank goodness for your nephew.
There you are. Yes, and my nephew, I've watched him grow. Yep. And my father constantly was telling Brian came in, worked his summer months, worked in the business, was in the attic, was in the basement, and he enjoyed it, and he pursued it, and he's joined us. So I'm real happy about that. Anybody else?
Okay, Lynn, can we take one more question? Because Leah has a burning one. She's been, okay. Burning. It's burning in her.
I was going to say one more thing about that, your question real quick though. In some ways, I know there's business owners, is one of the goals of your business to sell your business or to carry on your business? And in some cases, the end game is to sell. And if the end game is to sell, then multi-generational is just the last it's like the last thing you want to do. That could be part of it too, potentially.
Okay, Leah.
First of all, thank you, the three of you, for, as a couple that has started a business in the past year, hearing the three of you speak on how, you've made it through multi-generational, you've been through the first 5, 6, 7 years of business, and you starting out, it's really inspirational. I think for me, as a new business starting out,
Vine 32, let's just mention the business.
yeah, okay, Vine 32.
I have some gift cards to redeem there, by the way. I can't wait.
But I guess where I come from is in an online, very much a digital world. How have you handled, maybe this is more for Joy and for you, negative reviews or people who are not understanding your mission? How have you stayed strong in that
your own personal brand and just really staying true to who you are. Because I think that sometimes for people who are starting out, you know who you are, you know what you're standing for, and when you have some negative opinion who doesn't know anything, it's really hard not to take it personal. So, and that can crush you no matter what happens. So I guess I'm just looking for some support.
So, do you want to summarize the question?
Yeah, to summarize the question, as a new business owner from Vine 32, congratulations, a great wine bar. How do you deal with negative feedback from customer base, be it online, social media, et cetera? And I can appreciate that because we have an expression, if it doesn't happen on social media, it never happened. Right? So in a running event, we give people the tools to brag about their medal. We give them photos of their finish line to show them what they look like, and then they one-click share to Instagram, share to Facebook, and it becomes brag book, right? But if you run out of water at the race, or people go the wrong direction, or something happens, all of a sudden what is a very positive experience for someone becomes a very negative pile-on situation. And we try to mitigate those negative things all the time. But I would say when you are faced with a negative comment from a customer for any reason, I think taking ownership of the situation, whatever they're complaining about, and being transparent. When we have something, we always say the Millennium team, when we're talking about us as a company, if there's a problem, I reach out and give them a phone call, and I talk to them directly. Or a social media message might be signed by me personally as the owner of the company, and admitting your mistakes or admitting the failures and taking the high road, and then limiting their comments thereafter.
Of course.
Because it can pile on, right? You don't want to create that, but you do have the ability to sort of create a mechanism. So, take the high road and let it be. But sometimes over-engaging also creates more negativity, and I've seen that happen where you're so passionate about the experience or the situation that they retort, because you're on opposite sides of the spectrum. It's like Republican, Democrat, you're just not going to agree, and you'll keep arguing, and that doesn't accomplish anything in a social media platform. So kill the comments.
Okay, so that is all the time that we have time for, but I want to thank again Joy, John, and Juliet, the panel of Jays, for joining us.
We got time for a run, right?
Right now.